Hey, so today we're talking about how to build a daily English learning habit. I think this topic is super important, especially for people who feel stuck or don't see progress. Let's start with something simple. Why do you think daily practice matters so much?
Great question. I'd say the biggest reason is that language is like a muscle. If you don't use it, it weakens. Daily practice helps you keep your brain engaged with English so you don't forget what you've learned. Even 10 or 15 minutes a day can make a big difference over time.
Totally. I've seen it in myself too. When I stop practicing for even a few days, I feel rusty. It's like my brain needs to warm up again.
Exactly. Think about it like going to the gym. If you work out once a week, you might feel sore and the progress is super slow. But if you do a little every day, it becomes part of your routine and you get stronger.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest myths about learning English is that you need to study for hours every day to improve, but that's just not true.
Nope, not at all. In fact, short but consistent practice is way more effective than long, irregular sessions. Your brain retains more information when it gets small, repeated exposure to the language.
And not just grammar and vocabulary. It's also about getting used to the rhythm and sound of English. Listening to a short podcast or repeating phrases out loud every day helps with pronunciation too.
Absolutely. Plus, when you practice every day, English starts to become part of your everyday thinking. You start recognizing words in songs, in movies, even when you're walking down the street and see a sign.
I love that feeling. It's like English slowly becomes a second nature. I remember when I first started learning, it felt so hard to think in English, but daily practice really helped.
And here's another thing. Daily learning builds momentum. Once you've done something for 7 days in a row or 14 days, you don't want to break that streak. It becomes part of your identity. I'm the kind of person who learns English every day.
That's true. And even if it's just 5 minutes, the consistency is what matters. I think the biggest challenge is getting started, right?
For sure. But once you make it a habit, it feels easier. You don't have to make a decision every day. You just do it, like brushing your teeth.
So for anyone listening today who feels like they don't have time or they're too tired after work, what would you say?
I'd say start small, really small. Like listen to a podcast for 3 minutes, read one paragraph of an article, watch one short video with subtitles. The key is showing up. That's it. The habit is more important than the amount of content you consume.
Yes, build the habit first. Once the habit is there, the learning becomes easier. And honestly, those small steps really add up over weeks and months.
Exactly. And another thing, don't worry about being perfect. If you miss one day, that's okay. Just come back the next day. The goal isn't perfection. The goal is progress.
Progress, not perfection. I love that. That's such a good mindset for learners. It takes the pressure off and makes the journey more enjoyable.
Yeah, learning English should be something you enjoy, not something that stresses you out. Daily practice isn't about being serious all the time. It can be fun. It can be music, games, podcasts, whatever keeps you coming back.
Exactly. So to everyone listening, don't underestimate the power of just 10 minutes a day. Start small, stay consistent, and trust the process.
Couldn't agree more. Your future self will thank you.
Okay, so we've talked about why daily practice is so important. But let's be honest, most people want to practice every day. They just don't have the time. Or at least they think they don't.
Yeah, that's a huge challenge. So in the next part, let's talk about how to actually find time in your day to learn English, even if you're busy or tired.
Exactly. Tiny pockets of time can be more powerful than we think. Let's dive into that next. So we've agreed that practicing English every day really helps. But here's the big question. How do we actually find time for it? I mean, everyone's busy, right?
Exactly. I hear this all the time. I want to learn English, but I just don't have time. But I think the problem isn't about time. It's about how we use our time. Everyone has a few spare minutes here and there. We just need to notice them.
Right. I used to think I was too busy too. But then I started looking at my day more closely. And I realized, hey, I'm spending 20 minutes scrolling through Instagram every night. I could easily use half that time to listen to something in English.
Same here. I started using what I call in-between time, like when I'm waiting for coffee, or walking to the store, or even brushing my teeth. I just play a short English podcast or repeat a few phrases out loud. Those little moments add up.
I love that. In between time. That's such a smart way to put it. We all have those small moments during the day where our brain is free, but we're not doing anything productive.
Exactly. And the good thing is, English doesn't always require a desk, a notebook, and silence. You can practice listening or speaking while doing other things. It's flexible.
What would you say to someone who works long hours and feels exhausted at the end of the day? Should they still try to learn or just wait for the weekend?
Good question. I'd say don't wait for the perfect time. It almost never comes. Instead, try to attach your English learning to something you already do every day. For example, if you always drink coffee in the morning, listen to English while doing that. Make it part of a routine that already exists.
Yes, that way you don't have to find time. It's already built into your day. It's just about replacing a small part of your routine with something in English.
And if someone really feels too tired, that's okay. The goal isn't to force yourself, it's to make the habit easy. Maybe that means watching a 2-minute English video while lying in bed. That still counts.
Totally. I think people underestimate how powerful just 5 minutes can be. If you do 5 minutes every day, that's over 2.5 hours a month. That's a lot.
Right? And once you see that it's possible to fit English into your day, it becomes motivating. You stop saying, I don't have time, and start saying, I'll just do a little right now.
Another thing that helped me was setting time limits on social media. Like, I'd allow myself 15 minutes on Instagram and then use the rest of my break time to read an English article or listen to a podcast. It's all about balance.
That's a great idea. I also think it helps to plan your English time the night before. Like, just ask yourself, when can I do 5 or 10 minutes tomorrow? If you already have a plan, you're much more likely to do it.
Planning is key. Otherwise, the day just disappears. Suddenly, it's 10 p.m. and you haven't done any English.
Exactly. And you don't have to be strict, just realistic. Even telling yourself, I'll learn one new word tomorrow morning while I make breakfast, that's a plan.
So for anyone listening who feels like there's just no time, maybe the first step is this. Stop waiting for big blocks of time and start looking for small, hidden minutes throughout your day.
Yes, English learning doesn't need to be a big event. It can be something small and natural, something that fits into your life.
And once it becomes part of your daily rhythm, it stops feeling like a chore. It's just something you do, like checking your messages or brushing your teeth.
Exactly. So don't wait for free time. Create time, even just a little. You'll be surprised how far that takes you.
So now that we figured out how to find time, let's talk about what to do with that time. How do you choose the right tools to make your daily practice more effective?
Good point. There are so many options out there. Apps, podcasts, videos, books. In the next part, we'll talk about how to pick the tools that work best for you.
All right, so we've talked about how to make time for English in your daily life. But once you have that time, the next step is figuring out what to do with it. There are so many tools out there. How do you even start?
That's the tricky part, right? There's no one-size-fits-all method. The key is to find tools that match your learning style and that you actually enjoy using. Because if you don't like it, you won't stick with it.
Exactly. I remember downloading like 5 language apps at once and getting overwhelmed. It took me a while to realize that simpler is better.
Totally. For example, if you enjoy learning visually, then apps like Anki or Quizlet, where you can use flashcards, can be super helpful for memorizing vocabulary. You can review 5 cards a day while you wait in line or drink your coffee.
Right. And if you're more into listening, then podcasts, YouTube videos, or even English music can make learning feel fun and natural. You're still improving your listening skills without needing to study in the traditional way.
Exactly. And let's not forget about subtitles. Watching shows or movies with English subtitles is a great way to connect listening with reading. You're learning pronunciation, sentence structure, and natural expressions all at once.
Yes, and reading is powerful too. For some people, reading English news or short stories every day, even just one article, can help improve vocabulary and grammar in context.
Absolutely. But here's the important part. Don't try to use everything at once. Choose 1 or 2 tools that you like and stick with them for a while. Once they become part of your routine, you can add more later if you want.
That's great advice. Sometimes people jump around too much. Today it's Duolingo, tomorrow it's a new YouTube channel, then they switch to a grammar book, and then they feel like they're not making progress.
Right, because they're not giving any tool enough time to actually work. It's like planting seeds and digging them up every day to check if they've grown.
I love that metaphor. So true. Also, I think people should choose tools that match their goals. For example, if your goal is to improve speaking, then you need tools that help you speak, not just memorize words.
Exactly. There are some great speaking-focused apps too, like Elsa Speak or Speechling. But you can also just record your voice daily or repeat after native speakers in a podcast. Shadowing is a great way to practice pronunciation and rhythm.
And for writing, tools like Grammarly can help you correct your mistakes and learn from them. Even writing 1 or 2 sentences a day in English, like a mini journal, can build writing confidence over time.
Yes, and don't forget about community-based tools. Joining a Facebook group, a language exchange app like HelloTalk or Tandem, or even commenting on English videos can help you interact with others. You don't have to learn alone.
That's so important. Having even one conversation a week can boost confidence like crazy. It makes the language feel more real, more alive.
Exactly. So just to summarize, choose tools that match your goals, your personality, and your lifestyle. And above all, make sure you actually enjoy using them.
Because if it feels like a boring chore, you won't keep doing it. Which brings us to our next big topic, how to stay motivated and consistent. That's where most people struggle, right?
Oh, definitely. It's one thing to start learning English, it's another thing to keep going, especially when life gets busy or progress feels slow. So in the next part, we'll dive into some tips to stay motivated and make English a habit you don't give up on.
Let's do it. Time to talk about mindset, motivation, and how to stay on track, no matter what. All right, so now that we've picked the right tools, let's talk about something just as important, motivation and consistency. This is where a lot of learners get stuck, right?
Yes, for sure. A lot of people start strong, maybe study every day for a week or two, and then suddenly stop. Life gets busy or they lose motivation. That's totally normal. But there are ways to stay on track.
I think the first thing people need to understand is this. Motivation isn't always there. You can't wait for motivation to magically appear every day.
Exactly. Some days you'll feel excited to learn. Other days you won't. That's why consistency is more powerful than motivation. If you build a routine, you'll keep going, even on days you don't feel like it.
Yes, for me, one thing that helped was setting a minimum goal. Like, no matter how tired I am, I'll do at least 3 minutes of English every day. That way I don't break the habit.
That's a great strategy. It's called a non-zero day. The idea is, even if you do just a little, you're still moving forward. It keeps the momentum going.
And momentum is everything. Once you've practiced for 5 or 10 days in a row, you don't want to break the streak. It becomes part of your identity. I'm someone who practices English every day.
Exactly. And another powerful trick is using visual reminders, like a calendar where you check off each day you study, or a habit tracker app. Seeing your progress can be really motivating.
Oh yes, I used to put stickers on a calendar every time I practiced English. It sounds silly, but it made me feel proud. It also helped me see that I was making an effort, even if my progress felt slow.
And speaking of progress, I think one reason people lose motivation is because they expect results too fast. They think, I studied for a week, but I still can't speak fluently. That's not how language works.
True. Language learning takes time. It's more like growing a tree than flipping a switch. You won't see results immediately, but the roots are growing underneath.
I love that image. And that's why it helps to celebrate small wins. Like, hey, today I understood a sentence without subtitles. Or I learned 5 new words and used one in conversation. That's progress.
Yes, focusing on small wins keeps your confidence up. And confidence leads to more motivation. It's a cycle.
Another thing that helps with consistency is accountability. If you tell someone your goal, like a friend or a language partner, you're more likely to stick with it.
That's true. Or you can even post your goal online. I'm going to learn English for 10 minutes a day for the next 30 days. Once you say it out loud, you feel more responsible to follow through.
And don't forget about rewards. Give yourself something to look forward to after studying. It could be a treat, a break, or watching your favorite show, whatever makes you feel good.
Exactly. Learning doesn't have to be serious all the time. You're allowed to make it fun and enjoyable. That's what keeps you coming back.
And if you miss a day, don't beat yourself up. Just get back on track the next day. Missing one day won't ruin everything, but quitting completely will.
Yes, be kind to yourself. You're not a robot. The goal is to keep going, not to be perfect.
So, if we had to summarize this part, I'd say build a habit, not just a goal. Make it easy, track your progress, celebrate small wins, and forgive yourself when things don't go perfectly.
Perfect summary. And now that we've built that daily habit and learned how to stay consistent, let's take things to the next level. How can you improve faster once you've already made daily learning part of your life?
Great point. In the next part, we'll talk about strategies to accelerate your learning, how to learn smarter, not just harder.
Let's do it. Time to talk about effective learning techniques and how to push past the plateau. So we've talked about motivation, consistency, and creating daily habits. But now let's focus on one of the most powerful ways to actually improve your English, real conversations.
Yes, real conversations are where everything comes together. Listening, speaking, vocabulary, even confidence. It's one of the fastest ways to learn because you're using the language actively, not just studying it passively.
Totally. I always say you don't really know a word until you've used it in conversation. It's one thing to recognize a word when you read it. It's another thing to pull it out and use it correctly in real time.
Exactly. And the great thing is, you don't need to be perfect. You just need to try. Every time you speak, your brain learns a little more. It learns what works and what doesn't.
A lot of learners are afraid of making mistakes when they speak, but mistakes are actually helpful, right?
Definitely. Mistakes are feedback. If you say something and someone doesn't understand you, that's a clue. Okay, maybe I need to pronounce that word better, or maybe I need a different phrase. It's part of the learning process.
I think one of the most common fears is being judged. Like, what if I sound stupid? Or what if my grammar is wrong?
Yeah, that's totally normal. But most native speakers are not judging you. They're impressed that you're learning their language. They're usually patient and supportive, especially if you're trying your best.
That's been my experience too. And the more you speak, the more that fear goes away. It becomes easier and even fun.
So where can learners find real conversation opportunities if they don't live in an English-speaking country?
There are actually so many ways now. Language exchange apps like HelloTalk, Tandem, or Speaky let you chat or call with people all over the world who want to practice English or your native language.
Yes. And platforms like italki or Preply let you talk to tutors or conversation partners. Some of them are even affordable, and you can schedule short sessions, like 15 to 30 minutes.
And if you're shy, you can even start by texting in English before doing voice or video calls. It's a softer way to get used to thinking and responding in English.
That's a great point. You can also join Facebook groups, Discord servers, or Reddit communities where people practice English together. Sometimes people organize free Zoom meetups or speaking clubs.
I've seen that. Some learners even create WhatsApp groups to send voice messages to each other daily. It's like a mini speaking practice without the pressure of being live.
That's brilliant. And for people who don't feel ready to talk to others yet, they can start by talking to themselves in English. Describe what you're doing, ask yourself questions, practice short answers out loud.
I used to do that all the time. I'd walk around my apartment saying things like, okay, now I'm making coffee. I need a spoon. Where's the milk? It felt silly, but it helped so much with thinking in English.
That's such a good habit. It makes English part of your daily thinking, not just something you study. And once you're comfortable talking to yourself, it's less scary to talk to others.
Another thing that helps is repeating or shadowing native speakers. Find a podcast or video, pause after each sentence, and try to repeat it with the same rhythm and tone.
That's one of the best ways to improve fluency and pronunciation. And again, it's real language from real people, not textbook examples.
So the big takeaway here is, don't wait until you're fluent to start speaking. Speaking is how you become fluent. Start now, make mistakes, learn from them, repeat.
Exactly. The more you talk, the faster you improve. Even 10 minutes of conversation a few times a week can make a big difference.
So now that we know how powerful real conversations are, what about the environment around us? How can we create a daily life that supports English learning even when we're not actively studying?
Great question. In the next part, we'll talk about how to immerse yourself in English, how to build a learning environment at home so that English is all around you every day.
I love it. Let's show people how to turn their daily environment into their personal English classroom. So we've talked about building habits, using the right tools, having real conversations, but there's one more piece of the puzzle that ties everything together: goal setting. Specifically, setting small, achievable goals.
Yes, a lot of people say, my goal is to speak English fluently. That's a great long-term dream, but it's too big and too vague. You need small wins to keep moving forward.
Exactly. Imagine saying, I want to be a professional athlete. You wouldn't just go out and play in the Olympics. You train every day, focus on daily goals, like running for 20 minutes, improving one skill at a time.
It's the same with English. Instead of be fluent, say, I want to learn 5 new words this week, or I want to understand one podcast episode without subtitles. Those goals are specific, measurable, and reachable.
I always tell learners to think in layers. Your big goal is the top of the mountain, but every small goal is a step. Focus on the step in front of you, not the peak.
Love that. And the great thing is, small goals lead to real confidence. When you achieve one, no matter how tiny, your brain says, I did it, and that makes you want to keep going.
Right. One of my favorite small goals is speak English for 2 minutes today. You can talk to a friend, record yourself, or even talk to yourself. Just 2 minutes, that's all.
So simple and so powerful. Or another one, write 1 English sentence a day. That's it. But after 1 week, you've written 7. After a month, 30. It adds up.
And what's cool is that you can adjust your goals depending on your schedule. If you're super busy one week, maybe your goal is just to review old flashcards or watch one short video in English.
Exactly. Goals should be flexible, not something that makes you feel guilty. They should support your life, not stress you out.
Yes, and you don't need to wait for Monday or the first of the month to set a goal. You can set a new one right now. Even something like, today, I'll learn how to order coffee in English.
And the more you do it, the better you get at knowing what goals work for you. Some people like to write them down, others use apps or sticky notes. The method doesn't matter, just that it keeps you focused.
There's something satisfying about checking off a goal, even a small one. It feels like progress, and that feeling builds motivation.
One trick I use is setting a weekly goal and then reviewing it on Sunday. I ask myself, did I do it? What worked? What didn't? It helps me stay honest with myself and adjust for the next week.
That's a great reflection habit. And remember, your goals don't always have to be skill-based. They can also be experience-based, like join one English conversation group this week, or watch a whole movie in English with no subtitles.
That's true. And sometimes the most important goal is just to keep going. Even if you don't feel like you're improving, trust that you are. Every word, every sentence, every effort, it's all building something.
Yes, learning a language is like filling a jar, one drop at a time. It might seem slow, but one day you'll look back and be amazed at how far you've come.
So whether you're just starting out or you've been learning for years, remember, small goals create big change. Focus on what you can do today, and the rest will follow.
Exactly. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be consistent. Trust the process and be proud of every step you take.
That's a perfect place to wrap up. We hope this conversation has inspired you to take action, build habits, and enjoy your English journey.
Thank you for spending time with us today. If you found this helpful, be sure to follow or subscribe for more daily English podcasts.
And remember, every day is a chance to improve. Just keep going. You've got this.
See you in the next episode. Happy learning!